The Secret in the Attic. My name is Elena. I am 28 years old, and my life used to be very loud. I lived in a tiny apartment in New York City. Every morning, I woke up to the sound of yellow taxis honking and people shouting. I am a freelance graphic designer. I love my job. But it is hard to be creative when your head is full of city noise. Last month, I decided to change everything. I packed my life into 10 cardboard boxes and drove north to a small town in Vermont. The town is called Willow Creek. It is the kind of place where everyone knows your name, and the air smells like pine trees and rain. I found a house on the edge of the forest. It was a beautiful 3-story wooden house with a large porch. It looked like a house from a classic movie. The rent was very cheap, almost too cheap. The owner was a man named Mr. Henderson. He was about 70 years old, with white hair and very kind but tired blue eyes. "The house is old, Elena," he told me as he handed me the keys. "It has a lot of history. It's a peaceful place, but remember, stay on the 1st and 2nd floors. The attic is off limits. The stairs are broken, and the floorboards up there are weak. It's dangerous." I smiled and thanked him. I didn't care about the attic. I had a big office on the 2nd floor and a cozy bedroom. I was happy. For the first 3 days, my life was perfect. I made coffee at 7 a.m., sat on the porch and watched the birds. I worked on my laptop, and for the first time in years, I felt relaxed. But on the 4th night, the silence changed. I was sitting in my living room at 11:30 p.m. reading a book. Suddenly, I heard a sound. Thump, thump, thump. It was coming from directly above me. I looked at the ceiling. Above the living room was the attic. "Is it a squirrel?" I whispered to myself. But squirrels are fast and light. This sound was heavy. It sounded like someone was dragging a suitcase across the floor. Then I heard something else, a metallic click, like a lock turning. I froze. I didn't move for 10 minutes. The house became silent again. I went to bed, but I left the lights on. I didn't sleep well that night. I dreamed of shadows moving behind locked doors. The next morning, I tried to be rational. "Elena, you are in a new house. Old houses make strange noises," I told my reflection in the mirror. I went outside and looked up at the attic window. The glass was dirty and covered in spiderwebs. But wait, I saw something. In the corner of the window, there was a small spot that was clean. It looked like someone had wiped the glass with their hand to look outside. I felt a cold shiver down my spine. I decided to call my best friend, Mark. Mark lives in Boston and works as a private investigator. He is used to mysteries. "Mark, I think someone is living in my attic," I said, my voice trembling. Mark laughed quietly. "Elena, you always had a big imagination. It's an old house. Maybe it's a raccoon or a large bird, or maybe it's just the wood expanding in the cold air." "Mark, I heard a lock turn. Raccoons don't use keys," I replied. "Look," Mark said, more seriously now. "Check the attic door. If the dust on the floor is disturbed, you'll know if someone was there, but be careful. If you feel unsafe, call the police." After I hung up the phone, I went to the 2nd floor hallway. At the end of the hall, there was a small wooden door in the ceiling with a silver handle. I stood under it. I looked at the floor. The carpet was covered in a thin layer of dust, except for one spot. There were 2 clear footprints near the ladder. Then I looked at the lock. There were fresh scratches on the metal. Someone had been opening this door recently, many times. My heart began to beat very fast. Thump, thump, thump. I am not a brave woman. In the city, I was afraid of dark alleys. But this was my home now. I paid rent here. I needed to know the truth. I decided to visit Mr. Henderson again. I drove to his small cottage near the lake. He was in his garden cutting roses. "Mr. Henderson," I said, trying to sound casual. "I heard some very loud noises last night from the attic. Are you sure no one else has a key to the house?" Mr. Henderson stopped moving. He didn't look at me. He stared at his roses for a long time. "It's just the wind, Elena. The wind in Willow Creek is very strong. Don't go up there, please. Focus on your work and enjoy the garden." His voice was shaking. He wasn't telling me the truth. He was protecting a secret. That night, I couldn't work. I sat in the dark with a flashlight. At exactly 11:15 p.m., the noises started again. Creak, creak. Then I heard a sound that made my blood turn to ice. It was a cough, a soft human cough. I stood up. I grabbed a heavy kitchen chair and a flashlight. I walked to the hallway. My hands were sweating. I pushed the chair under the attic door and climbed up. The door was locked. I pushed it with my shoulder. It didn't move. I pushed again, harder. Crack! The old wood broke and the door swung open. I climbed up into the attic. It was freezing cold. Dust danced in the beam of my flashlight. I saw old boxes, a broken rocking chair, and piles of old newspapers from the 1980s. "Is anyone here?" I shouted. My voice sounded small in the large room. Suddenly, I saw a movement behind a stack of large trunks. "Please, don't hurt me," a voice cried out. I moved my flashlight. A young woman was sitting on the floor. She was wearing a thick, oversized sweater and had a blue blanket wrapped around her shoulders. She looked exhausted. Her eyes were red from crying. I lowered my flashlight. "Who are you? What are you doing in my house?" The girl stood up slowly. "My name is Maya. I am Mr. Henderson's granddaughter. Please don't call the police. If the police come, my grandfather will lose everything." I sat down on an old box. I was shocked. "Why are you hiding here?" Maya began to tell me her story. A year ago, her parents died in a terrible accident. She was left with nothing, no money and no home. She had dropped out of college to find a job, but she couldn't find anything that paid enough for a flat. "My grandfather wanted me to live with him," Maya said, "but his cottage is too small, and his rental agreement says only one person can live there. This house is different. It's an investment, but his insurance company told him that if he has more than one tenant, the price will triple. He can't afford it. So he told me I could stay here in secret until I save enough money." I looked around the attic. I saw a small mattress, a bottle of water, and some books. Maya had been living in the dark, in the cold, for weeks. "He brings me food every night when you are asleep," Maya whispered. "I try to be quiet, but it's so hard to stay still all day." I felt a mix of emotions. I was angry that Mr. Henderson had lied to me. I was scared because a stranger was in my house. But I felt the most sorry for that girl. She was only 20 years old, and she was living like a ghost. "Maya, you can't stay here," I said. Maya started to cry. "I know, I'm sorry. I'll leave tomorrow morning. I'll find a shelter in the city." I thought about my life in New York. I remembered how lonely and hard the city could be. I looked at Maya. She reminded me of myself 5 years ago. "No," I said, "you aren't going to a shelter." The next morning, I called Mr. Henderson. I asked him to come to the house. When he arrived, he saw me and Maya sitting at the kitchen table. He turned very pale and sat down. "Elena, I am so sorry," he said, putting his head in his hands. "I didn't want to lie to you. I just wanted to save her." "I know, Mr. Henderson," I said gently, "but secrets always come out. We need a better plan, a legal plan. I am a graphic designer, and my business is growing. I realized I needed an assistant to help me with emails, social media, and organization. "Maya," I said, "I want to hire you. It's a real job with a real salary." Mr. Henderson looked up. "But what about the insurance? What about the city rules?" "We will tell the truth," I said. "Maya will be my official live-in assistant. I will pay a little more rent to cover the insurance, and Maya will pay me back by working for me. It's legal and it's honest." Mr. Henderson had tears in his eyes. He thanked me 100 times. It has been 3 months now. Maya doesn't live in the attic anymore. She has a beautiful bedroom on the 2nd floor with a big window. She is a wonderful assistant, and my business is doing better than ever. Sometimes I still hear noises at night, but now it's just the sound of Maya laughing while she talks to her grandfather on the phone, or the sound of us making popcorn in the kitchen. I learned something important in Willow Creek. Honesty is not just about telling the truth. It's about having the courage to help others. I moved here to find peace and quiet, but I found something much better: a family.